J. Caddy Beast from Phoenix, Arizona, and you're watching Hot Facts with my boy Robert Reese.
Hot Facts with Robert Reese here. Got a real good one. Got to take you guys back to a long time ago. Way back. A lot of you guys are just getting into the driving. Even though some of you guys have channels, some of you guys have been driving for a long time, so some of you guys will understand what I am speaking about. But we have a lot of new drivers coming in, and then we have a whole wave of the COVID situation and the pandemic drivers. The pandemic changed a whole lot when it comes to doing this delivery thing, okay? Now, let's go way back. Going by right now, the Aldis and the Skechers and these facilities here, and I was looking at how the warehouses work and how they have their things set in stone. They didn't have to worry about doing the online orders and having other trucks and people come in to do their thing. Everything was straight, and then the pandemic hit. I'm gonna take it back to you guys when you guys know that we got people saying what you should have for your lowball acceptance if you want to take an order. For you to say, man, I need to go ahead and make some money. Now, when I first started on Postmates, the average order was like $4.50. So you had to make yourself do at least 20 orders in a day so that you get a minimum of at least $80 without tip. Now, you gotta think, if you do 20 orders, you do your math, and you'll say, well, at least 50 to 60, but it actually ended up being that 70% of the people still tipped after. So then that money grows up and just goes. Then you'll have good days and bad days, okay? So in my era, when we speak about, your lowball, I'm a second generation driver, which means once they put the apps out, that first wave went through, I'm a second generation driver. So our lowball was lower than that for us to just accept an order. And the pay was different. If you were on Postmates, whatever I made on Monday, I had to wait 7 days to go into my account for that following Monday. If I worked Tuesday, so then you have to do that. So you got paid every single day. And if you miss a day, then the next week you're gonna have a day where you don't get paid. I even went through all that. But there was one thing that was all the same. You made some money. Now on DoorDash, I was doing DoorDash in 2016, the beginning of 2016 originally, okay? I was doing the DoorDash. Now, when I was doing the DoorDash then, now you guys got to understand also, there was a huge change, and I'm going to get into it. But when I was doing DoorDash, the average order was like $7.80 to $8.50 for the average order coming in. So we have people that speak about, well, your lowball should be, right now, I've seen it go from $5 to $5.50 to $6 to $6.25. Now it's floating around $6.50 should be your lowball for the order you're gonna take for you to go ahead and make some money. Now, they're not talking about miles, they're just talking about putting some money in. It's up to you and to your own discretion to decide if that $6.50 is worth 15, 16 miles. That's not up to me.
What? I don't feel sorry for you. When you take a $9 order going 25 miles, you don't have to take it. And you take it, that makes you a dumbass.
Okay. Back in the day, even if we did get an order like that back in the day, which was only if you were gonna be in an area like me that was being built in the desert to where the distances are pretty far to get to the people, there was something that changed with that, okay? So now we have higher paying orders for just the regular orders. We have those, and something changed, okay? Something changed. Something huge changed. So, they're giving people, the miles now, and they are rejecting it. And I'll tell you why. It has to do with getting sick. Pandemic. When the pandemic came, people, My goodness. First of all, these orders that were gonna be that 6 for whatever 15, before the pandemic came, every single thing, 90% of the orders were meet at door. 90%. The customers were tipping when you have to walk to the door and do everything. That's how the apps were. That's how it was. I'm a second generation truck driver. Everything was a meet at door. So you were getting tipped in cash a whole lot more. And then people start seeing that you can do it on the app. So you were getting app and cash a whole lot more also. The pandemic made the restaurants, remember back in the day, all the videos out back then when people were eating the food?
Wear a mask, wash your hands. How about keep your hands out of the bag?
An Austin resident says his Uber Eats delivery driver liked his food so much, he ate some of it. Our Charlie DeMar live with a story you'll only see on 2. Charlie.
Brad and Erica, yeah, you can add this to your list of COVID concerns. A 15-piece boneless chicken wing dinner, apparently too tempting for this delivery driver in all of this. It was all caught on camera. His explanation, simple. He was hungry.
And he's walking along the grass, and then my camera happened to pick him up.
There are security cameras all over Richard Jackson's home.
Just towards my camera.
In the Austin neighborhood.
He was clearly caught digging into my food.
The cameras light up. There's even warning signs alerting people to the cameras.
He was digging into the bag, you know, sort of chucking the boneless wings.
But that apparently didn't stop this delivery guy.
Repeatedly popping them in.
From helping himself to Jackson's dinner.
This is when I see the sauce smeared all over the bag. It's missing several pieces of the chicken.
Jackson used Uber Eats to order dinner from Buffalo Wild Wings. He says instead of his assigned delivery driver, a man hops out of the passenger side door and almost immediately begins rifling through the bag.
It's concerning that he was so nonchalant, especially during a pandemic where we have a highly transmissible disease.
A 2019 U.S. food study polled 500 deliverers. 28% admitted to snagging customers' food. More than half say they've been tempted to do so by the smell.
I did challenge him on why he was eating my food.
Jackson confronted the driver on the porch, and after a few moments, Jackson says he got an admission and refused to accept the order.
He eventually admitted to eating my food.
Made all the restaurants put seals on everything, put them up. All that stuff stopped. All those videos went away. All that stuff stopped there. Anything comes in on a mobile order, coming in through a computer system, the pandemic made all that stuff change. It made it, there was a time to where there was only drive-through and only the drivers can go inside. And that was after a while. They even had to fight for that because the drivers had to sit through the drive-throughs, okay? Drivers were making more money because they were telling customers, you know, some people like me knew that even though that there's no people in, the restaurants would allow me in. And on my videos, you would see, like, how are they allowing you in to just go inside the place and nobody else can? There are people like me that had that ability, but that's how it is when you know how to work with your merchant and they feel like you're a part of their staff because you're working for the same customer. Things like that would happen. But it didn't happen like that for everybody, okay? So now, okay, the people are not tipping in cash anymore like how they did. They're not doing that, okay? They're not tipping in the cash anymore, and a lot of them stopped tipping all the way on the app, even after the order was dropped off. You would see a whole lot more, oh, the customer added this extra for you because it's a meet at door. You know, they were waiting at the, and check this out. A lot of the customers were waiting already at the door, sitting in a chair by the door. They might be in their front yard, their lawn, they might be anywhere, but they were waiting for the order. Now, when the pandemic hit, you can now be inside. It's gonna come. And then people have to understand that because the pandemic hit, even though it was a leave it door, some drivers were transitioning in from being everything meet at door. So even though it's a leave it door, they were still waiting around at customers' doors like I'm still waiting for that tip I know I normally get. No, because now what the pandemic does, those customers don't want to come in contact with you at all. They think they're gonna get sick. So while they think they're gonna get sick, they're not even coming to the door for the leave it door. So you're losing all contact with the customer. The pandemic caused all of this. The good old days, and I'm telling you, we were getting paid $7.80 to $8.50 without Prop 22. This was without Prop 22, okay? This was without Prop 22 on DoorDash. That's how it went. Uber Eats, you were getting paid a little more on Uber Eats. Grubhub came in, hit the scene, and Grubhub was doing great. The pandemic, man. The pandemic. Before the pandemic, the orders, you were getting like $7.50 to $8.50 per order. Now just imagine that. You got these people here on DoorDash, right? Complaining nonstop. I'm not moving my car from this for this. I'm not doing this. I'm not making money. My car depreciates if I just turn on my headlights. You drove it off the car lot. You're gonna go to the store. That stuff don't matter. So that means that when you have your own business, don't get any vehicles for your business. You are gonna be a vehicle to where you have to do certain things like maintenance on people's homes, and you cannot have a truck. You have to send the people on the bus. That's the type of business person you are if you bring up, I have to use my own car and all that stuff. The pandemic made all these drivers not even think about everything on what they really messed up, which is why California, we have to go fight to do something a little bit different. But the good old days, we weren't fighting like that. Yeah, we wanted a little bit better because, you know, you're gonna complain no matter what. Any order that was bad, that was a bad order. Someone lives, you're in Long Beach, someone lives on the 12th floor, and they don't tell you that the elevators are broken and you gotta take the stairs all the way up. Done that one time, but it was only to like 5 floors. Someone did it that I knew. This dude went all the way up to the 12th floor and he did that. Never again did I do that. I left my stuff down there, left them a text. I got bad rating and everything. I did not care. I'm not going up them flights of stairs. But that happened every now and then, so we were like, we need to get paid a little more for certain things, or people changing addresses and making you drive more. It was the waiting time then. You know, back then you got paid up to 15 minutes on the other apps. It was 20 minutes on Postmates. You got paid 20 minutes and it was a maximum $5. If you have to wait 20 minutes, you got an extra $5 from for getting paid. That was how we used to milk the clock back then. We used to stay at the restaurant. Okay, we'll drive there. Once we hit the parking lot, it now starts at your waiting time. So we would get there early and wait there. That 20 minutes that people are waiting on now that's how we were milking the clock to get the extra $5 while keeping the average order higher for what we get. We weren't seeing $2 orders. We weren't seeing this and that and this and that. Okay, now let's get into why we have $2 orders and they take away peak pays and they do all this stuff, the surges, why they take these away.
You ain't got no Bisquick. You can't make no pancakes. You don't got no bread. You can't put some toast. Got some butter. Give them kids that. You ain't got no Cafe Bustelo. You ain't got no Folgers. The entitlement and the gluttony of some Americans blows my mind. Issues and running late for school, blah, blah, blah. Listen, we can only do so much, and you ordered something that's that far away, 20 plus miles. What do you expect? Make breakfast at home if you can't afford it and you're on a time crunch. These kind of human beings, she obviously can't manage her money or her time. And y'all gonna say I'm being insensitive. I don't care. Listen, forget about your feelings for a second. Let's deal in reality. Let's deal in facts.
Every time someone complains, they take something and change it. Okay, and then they take something and change it the next time it's going to change. I've been through maybe 7-8 different pay changes through the gig apps. Okay, more than a lot of people. Okay, so when people complain, they change something, and we say that you have to adapt. Yeah, we have to forcefully adapt to the situation because other drivers don't know exactly what they're doing, and now we get all the way here. It's gotten so bad that now people are seeing, I've even seen $1.50 for an offer to go someplace because of what these drivers are complaining about, what they're doing to the merchants, what they're doing to the customers. They're doing all this stuff. So they are now breaking this down and giving it. That's why your AR and everything else counts. They did this to kind of combat all of that. Okay, to combat all of that. So you got to understand, we're complaining now about the pay per order and everything, but it was already set in stone to keep it that way. You know what takes it away from getting $8 every order? Okay, when you go out, you're gonna see 8s, no 4s, no 5s, no, maybe a 670 every now and then. You know why? We have to keep that in because now they start taking away from what you're gonna see over the top. And it is now. And only few of us drivers can actually speak about that. I'm a second generation driver. I can't speak about the first generation. They started up when the catering services were doing all the food deliveries. I don't know that transition. I had a buddy that worked in it and he would bring food back and he was doing it. It switched from them to these apps. I'm not a first generation driver. Those people that were doing the catering apps for the companies themselves then switched over to doing those. Those are first generation drivers. I'm a second generation driver. I'm one of maybe a small percentage of people that can actually speak on this. It was way better before all this stuff was going on because of how much we were getting paid. That's why people were doing it and trying to keep it a secret. When more and more drivers came, they jacked it up and jacked it up and jacked it up. Now we're in 2014. After a man-made planned pandemic hit, made everything else change to how we operate our everyday lives as American citizens or even people around the world. Masks are still in. People still think it's here. All this other stuff. They don't even want contact. There's miscommunications and all this stuff. Now drivers are not wanting to do this, not doing that. They got to make your ARs count, get rid of drivers, put tier systems in, which makes me come to this. This is the bona fide breaking news of whatever it is right now. The tier system is going to go like this also. Here are some hidden jewels. They're already doing the beta testing on the people that accept the most orders because that's who they can do it on. If you get enough of them that accept everything, they can run a test on them. Now, here's what's going to work. Here's how it's going to happen. Those people that are doing those testing who are randomly, no one knows if it's you or not. If you are randomly picked, you're gonna be doing that stuff, right? The catering program is gonna start going to the people in the highest tier system, okay? First, the ones who have catering equipment and it's on their app, it's on their account, they're gonna start getting the catering orders first. Then it's gonna trickle down to the lower tier and the lower tier. And even if you have equipment right now and you are getting catering and you are not on that top tier, there's someone else at a higher tier for catering that's going to get those. They're going to merge the LOP and the catering and kind of do it like that, okay? They're going to do it like that. The highest tier, LOP and catering first, then it will trickle all the way down. And that's how that is going to work on DoorDash, okay? They're doing it like that and they're making it go week by week instead of how you do a month to month for the top dasher. Week by week means they have to give everyone the equal opportunity to get there. Equal Opportunity Act, the FAIR Act, even though we are independent contractors, we still have to fall under the Equal Opportunity Act, okay? So guess what they do? They put something that everyone can do. If they put it to every week, that means someone else can be there the next week. Someone else may fall down, but then you'll get people that keep their stats up there year round. It's not no takeoffs for breaks or anything else like that. They are constantly going to be getting those orders right now. Now, if this was back in the day when we were getting $8 per order, no matter what, when it all got good and there was always a meet at door, the customer waiting for you, they got their dogs in the back, ain't nothing about to bite you, all that stuff was great. When we were getting paid the extra $5 on top of that, people, so that means that we were making $8 orders go to $13 orders, then get there and get a cash tip, which will put that up a little more. So you were getting $20 a lot of the time for the orders you were dropping off. That was the philosophy and the sequence on how we did it back then. We had to adapt to the pandemic and how the pandemic drivers made us have to change. But another thing that did not change, the way we did it then, you still do it now. That's never going to leave. That's how you get your clientele, repeat customers, and all of that. Now you just got to make sure your ARs are all the way up there because ARs really didn't matter back then. They didn't even count those. They just counted if you got, it was your customer service rating. The ARs were not there. They have to put that stuff in to then start making it count. That's how it was when you were a second generation driver. So you drivers out there who are talking all this stuff, think about how you have it now and how you're making it worse, and think about what you're saying needs to be changed. Everything that was there was already there in the beginning. You took it away. You can't go back. They're never gonna take it back. They were paying us way too much money back then. They're never gonna go back to do it like that. And we were getting surges. Peak pays all the time to where you would make like 23, 24 bucks on the order. You guys don't know how you jacked it up. You don't know, but stop complaining. And if you didn't know, now you know. If you would like to know more about what really goes on in the gig economy, do exactly what the next clip says.